Welcome to the channel.
Bed when I moved out of my dad's house.
Wait, so what were you sleeping on?
The floor.
Why?
My dad had no money. He didn't have much money. And when I would ask for a bed, this is like obviously years later on.
Yeah.
Like when it first started off as a kid, it wasn't that bad because you're just a kid and like you could sleep anywhere. But as time went on, I was like 16 or 17 asking for a bed. He was like, I mean, you've slept on the floor this long. So
Wait, so what was the sleeping arrangement then? Was it just like blankets with a pillow, or like what was that like?
I used to have this sleeping bag and then a pillow. That was it. And that was during summer, winter. And it's like the way that the flooring is set up, it's just like carpet, but it's like 30-year-old carpet. So it's like there's nothing there. So
It's compressed.
Super compressed.
Yeah.
Like the padding is compressed. So I used to sleep in like this Blues Clues sleeping bag that I had since I was like 7 years old, all the way up till legitimately 19 years old.
And when did you realize that wasn't normal?
Oh God. I feel like I was pretty self-aware when I was young.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it was because I mean, all my friends had beds. So I knew it was abnormal when I was a kid, like 10 years old, sleeping on the floor.
I'm just curious, what stopped you from just, because I feel like I see mattresses occasionally just like thrown around.
They give them away on Facebook.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Facebook
yeah.
Marketplace. Like you could just pick up a free one on Facebook Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace didn't exist back then. Well, I mean, the space that I slept in, it didn't really have much. I mean, it had enough room for a mattress, but it would take up a majority of the room. And there was just like so much stuff in that house because my dad was like a hoarder. So we had like just a bunch of random stuff in there, old computers, VHS tapes. And like you wouldn't have believed the amount of VHS tapes this guy had. I promise you it was the craziest thing ever. I came home one day and he bought like, I'm not even exaggerating, maybe 5,000 or 6,000 VHS tapes.
And so he would do that, but no bed.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. As I grew older, it got to the point where like, oh, like this guy's like actually a scumbag. He's just a scum, you know? He's not like, a lot of people are like, oh, your dad would be very proud of you and everything. And I'm just like, when they say that, I'm just like, I literally couldn't care less about what do you think?
Well, I'm very glad now knowing that. I mean, you walk in here, you pull up in an Audi R8, and you're like, I was telling you I have a Mazda Miata beater car, and you're like, wow, I was looking at a super clean one, looked really nice, silver, hardtop, everything, but like I have enough cars, I don't need another one. And I'm like, really, you have enough cars? You're like, yeah, I actually bought another one today. Actually, I'm like, dude, like you're just spending money, like.
But you know what? Like your dad bought VHSs, you're buying cars.
Yeah. It's a crazy, like, it's so crazy. Like, I wake up every day and, like, I'll say something, and it's just like, God, like, if I just look back 3 years ago, like, me saying this would just be just out of this world. I would have never expected to say something like
So
that.
how did you get here? Because what was it like going to school?
I did elementary school. I went to this place called C.H. Decker, which was maybe, like, half mile to a mile from my house. And I did that up until about end of fourth grade. Maybe a month before I was supposed to graduate, and out of nowhere, randomly, my dad comes to the school. We get called up to the office, and my dad just tells us to grab our stuff, and we walk out of the school, and he's like, "You're never going to this school ever again." And I was like, "Okay, I have no idea what's going on." And then he brings us home, and you gotta imagine, he does this without telling us anything. We don't know what's going on. He brings us home, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna homeschool you guys." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Like, that's actually sick. Like, I hated school. Like, I would rather do it at home." And then we started doing the homeschooling stuff. That lasted about a month and a half. And then I just never did school ever since then.
And so what did it look like every day you would wake up?
Pretty much, I would wake up at like 6 to 7 a.m. And then I would ride my scooter from my house like 2 miles up to Desert Breeze Skate Park. And I would spend 12 to 15 hours there a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just practicing scootering.
Yeah, just riding. I wasn't even practicing. I was just riding, just having fun. Because I couldn't meet anyone. I didn't go to school. So like the social life is gone. So it's like, this is like my new life this is my new home, basically.
Is that legal to just like take your kid out of school and now they're just like, how does anyone ever track these things? Like who's showing up to school and who's not?
I don't know the answer to that, but I know there's no way that it is legal to do that, for sure.
My parents always told me if I missed enough school, they would throw me in jail. And I think I was young enough to think, oh man, like I gotta go to school.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a thing where like you can do the homeschool and like I think you're supposed to keep track of it and submit it to like the county. But obviously, there's no
no
shot he did that.
No.
Yeah, not at all.
And
but
so,
yeah, we never had anyone show up, so I don't know.
And this is fascinating because you just apparently got extremely good at scootering to the point where you went pro at scootering then. I'm curious, how did that shift your finances?
Not much. I mean, it was good for me as a teenager because I went pro when I was 16. And like I would survive at the skate park like with no money. Didn't have money to take the bus. I didn't have money to get food. So I'd like, I don't know, people would buy me a sandwich at McDonald's. I probably consumed more McDonald's than anyone on this planet. But like when I hit 16 and I turned professional, I started getting a paycheck, which is really crazy at 16, unless you're working like a part-time job or whatever. I was making $750. But like you got to think like someone that comes from literally nothing to $750 as a 16-year-old, it's like you like almost feel like you're on top of the world.
That's per month?
Per month, yeah. And then your travel's paid for, competition entry fees are paid for, your scooters are free. So it was like financially, I guess it was like a huge change. I was able to like buy clothes and make sure I was able to eat and drink when I'm at the skate park all day long, and I could take the bus to the skate park, and I'm making $750 a month. I start looking at cars. I'm 16 years old. Like you can't afford a thing.
I used to do the same thing as like if I took all the money that I have and everything that I make, what could I afford?
Yeah. I was looking at like so stupid. I'm looking like Audi A4s and like $4,000, and I'm like, oh, I could get this in like 8 months, and I'm just like, you're never gonna get that car. You can't even afford the insurance.
And then from there, you were pro at scootering for a while, and then you kind of went into being a mechanic. And usually, this is not like a biographical podcast. But your story is just that fascinating, where I'm like very curious because you kind of alluded to a few things like being a mechanic and having to hop around to a few different shops, because I genuinely have no idea why you got fired. I couldn't figure it out online, and I'm dying to know.
I got fired twice, actually. So the whole shift from the scootering to the mechanic world basically came as I was with an ex and she wanted to live in Vegas, but, riding a scooter, and I wasn't making enough money to basically afford life unless I was a bum, basically. So I was like, all right, I have to get into like getting my first job. Well, technically not my first job, but I had to get into getting a job to afford, an adult life. So I couldn't afford school. I knew I couldn't go to school because I don't have a diploma. I don't have a GED. I don't have an elementary diploma even. So my thought process was like, okay, I'm just going to get real world experience at a lube shop, very basic, no experience needed. And you could do oil changes and stuff like that, change fluids on cars. So I started there. It was called Valvoline. I did that for about 2 years. And I got, hands-on experience, basically better than trade school, learned about cars during my off time. And then I applied as an apprentice at a dealership here in Vegas, and I ended up getting hired, which was awesome. So I got pushed I was under someone's wing basically at this dealership, and they're teaching me about the cars and how to replace all these parts. And, the mechanic industry is a little, I think it's shady personally.
Why?
You don't get paid hourly, you get paid a flat rate system. So if you come in with your BMW and your water pump is leaking and your car's under warranty, you're not going to pay a dime. You bring the car in, we do the diagnostic, we replace the part. BMW has a book that says how much you'll get paid for replacing this part. And let's just say it'll be 2 hours. You'll get 2 hours to replace this part. If it takes you 10 hours, you only get 2 hours. If it takes you 30 minutes, you get 2 hours. So in some sense, it works, some sense it doesn't. But almost every single time when a car is under warranty and they say it's going to take you 2 hours, it'll take you 3 hours or 4 hours. Like it's so hard to beat it unless you do all these crazy like shortcuts and, find different things to sprucing up your story and make more money.
What about upcharging like the classic middle-aged woman who goes to the mechanic to get something simple fixed? She ends up getting sold on a million other things and upcharged like crazy. Is this true?
I'm sure it's true in some sense, but typically when you bring your car into a dealership, you get an inspection, and nowadays people are getting videos from their mechanic that are showcasing all the things that are wrong with their car. And most of the times, like a lot of things you don't really have to replace. Like you can live your life and it'll be fine. But we are supposed to protect ourselves from, our boss. Like if you were to take your car and I told you, oh, you need to replace this part, but you were like, oh, I just took this into another shop and they didn't say anything about it. Then if that lady ends up complaining to the first shop, that technician is the one that bites the bullet. So you have to like basically look at everything, even if it's like on the way out or you don't need to replace it. It's not like that detrimental, but it's torn a little bit and you don't mention it, then that's on you and you take the liability.
So the air filters, if you go in to get an oil change and they say you need a new air filter, is that true?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, they shouldn't lie about an air filter. It's only like $20.
I feel like
if they charge you so much
single
money.
time. Every time I go in, I could drive in with a Tesla to get an oil change and they'd be like, yeah, your oil looks fine, but you need a new like air filter. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
yeah. I swear.
Like, you were going to die if you don't replace this air
And I always go, do I
immediately.
need it? And they go, well,
It's like, oh, how much is it? $300.
Yeah, a lot of the times the air filters, they do upcharge a buttload on them, which doesn't
all you
really
do
make
is
sense.
just like,
yeah, you just replace the filter. It's really not that hard. Sometimes there's a couple screws and bolts. I mean, there are some cars that are like, it is a pain to replace, but for the most part, it's a couple screws and you just swap it out.
final car question, because you're not technically a car YouTuber, but I'm just so curious.
Yeah.
What is the best car to work on and the worst car to work on?
Oh, God.
Like, I know
Best car.
Volvos are very compact. Like, they suck to work on. Something that's easy, you know. Like
I
Toyota.
think the best car to work on would be like a Toyota or a Honda, because they're very easy to do. There's a lot of space in there typically. And to replace a thing, like if you need to replace a motor, it's way faster than anything else. I haven't worked on a ton of different brands. I've done like BMW and Jaguar and a couple like off-brand stuff here.
If you like this, subscribe and drop a comment.